All right, so we just got done seeing the Mule, yeah, which was new Clint Eastwood flick about. I would call it a crime drama adventure about an old guy in his 90s that becomes a mule for the Mexican drug cartel, and a little adventure that he has.
Little adventure.
Yeah, it's like a little adventure. What happens to him? And I tell you what, I think this is one of the first times Jenny and I were the youngest people in the theater. Yeah.
It's Tuesday, and Tuesday is $5 ticket day.
Yeah.
So it's always more people in here on Tuesday. But wow, it was like super packed.
And it was just a sea of gray. Just a sea of, and them fuckers are dirty, man. They're throwing popcorn everywhere. You know, when they,
what is that about?
It took them forever to filter out, and after they left the theater, I'm looking around, it was like children. I mean, they just had shit fucking thrown everywhere. They come in there to sweep it up, and I'm going, you poor people.
That's why I feel bad. I would never leave anything like that.
Yeah. Okay, it was a good movie. I think it had I really liked it up until the very end. I think the end kind of had an anticlimactic end. That was the only thing. It didn't really go out with a bang, but the rest of the movie, I really liked it. I thought it was well directed. The acting's fantastic in it. All the characters are really good in it. It just didn't. It kind of goes out with a whimper.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess I can see why it kind of did that because
it's based on true story.
It's kind of based on a true story. I guess it was in the New York Times, like an article called "The 90-Year-Old Drug Mule" or whatever.
See what I'm talking about? See him back here? Okay. Just mess around.
But like, well, you know what's something about this movie that I wasn't expecting? Because we've been seeing the trailers. And I said, "Oh, it looks pretty good. We should probably see that." And it's like there's a lot more humor in it than I was expecting. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like, because Clint Eastwood, I mean, he looks more and more like a mummy, like every year.
Scarecrow.
But he's like super scary looking.
But that's like, the character,
because he's old as shit. But but like, it's kind of like grouchy old coot the movie. Yeah. But like in an entertaining kind of way, because like he doesn't know how to do anything. Like he doesn't know how to text. He's like, I have to call the internet and shit like that.
The highlight of this movie is his interaction with the drug cartel.
Yeah, I like that.
The guys from the drug cartel, I mean, they're portrayed, I think, realistically. I mean, they're badasses, but they're also just guys, and they do funny shit. You know, it's just.
I liked it. I really did. And it's like it's just funny because you can see how this would happen because I mean, some dude who's like old as shit and like was a drug mule. It's like they would never suspect. You know, and I guess they didn't for a really long time. Like he got away with it.
Talk his way out of stuff.
Yeah, because he's just like this doddering old man, and it's like, and he did like some. I'm not gonna spoil it, but he did like some kind of ballsy shit too. That like if you didn't look like an old white man, you wouldn't get away with that kind of the kind of shit that he was doing.
It was a funny movie. I think my only criticism of the thing was that it goes out with a whimper instead of going out with a bang. I think had I done this movie, I think I'd have written a little stronger ending for it.
Yeah, maybe so. But like I said, maybe they wanted to stick to the realistic story.
I would have put a shootout in it or something. You know, some shit blowing up.
This needs a shootout.
But, yeah, I'd recommend it. It was a good movie.
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay, so we just got done watching Into the Spider-Verse. Yes. Which is the origin story for Miles Morales, which was the comic book version of the new Spider-Man. Now, if you're up on what's going on with Marvel, the movies are doing fine. The Netflix series is doing really well, but the comic books are just being basically rejected by the market. I mean, the writing is supposed to be rock bottom, and the art isn't that good, and they just can't sell them. They're pushing them on comic book stores, and the comic book stores can't move them. So because of that, I actually had very low expectations for this one. I was just trying to get it out of the way. But in the movie, you have Miles Morales. You also have the original Spider-Man and what happens to him. And then all these other Spider-Men that come through a dimensional door that was built by Kingpin and Doc Octopus. So you're kind of, for the first time, you're kind of coming face to face with these Spider-Man reboot characters in this film. And I'd have to say that they were well written. I think the characters were well written. They're evidently much better written than what they are in the comic books, because I found the Miles Morales character to actually be kind of, okay. And I thought the visuals of the movie were really good. What did you think?
Actually, I don't usually care about seeing stuff in 3D, but I'm actually really glad that we saw this one in
Looked
3D
good.
because this is one of the coolest looking movies that I've ever seen, and I really liked. They kind of mixed up the styles a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, if you saw you probably saw the trailers. If you, so you know that some of the alternate universe spider people, like one's like a noir Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah.
And one's like a Porky Pig type character called Spider-Ham.
And then anime.
Yeah, there's
anime,
like an
Japanese
one with a little robot.
She's in a robot, like a mecha and everything. You know?
So they almost have like a little bit. It's not like really jarring, but they have like the animation is slightly different.
Depends on what universe it is.
Whatever universe they came from.
What the hell's happening. Some of the stuff looks very comic-y. Some of it looks very realistic. Like there were sometimes I was like, wait a minute, am I looking at film? Or am I looking at...
Yeah, it looked like really realistic.
Just depends.
Yeah, like a lot of it had like a really cool, like that, the dot matrix kind of overlays, like the old school.
I gave the animation a big thumbs up. I mean...
It's gorgeous. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous movie.
My only gripe about the animation is that in some of the action scenes, the frame rate was very slow, so it looked very choppy.
Yeah,
like
it's very like a lot of the fight scenes and stuff are like really quickly edited and
and they tried to make it look like it was old-fashioned animation where there weren't many frames to the motion and it happened real fast and you didn't really see much detail. Which they did that on purpose. That was what they chose to do, and I kind of disagreed with it because in other sequences the action was nice and smooth and you could tell what happened. So I think they just need to pick that nice and smooth you know what I mean, frame rate for the action scenes. I liked them. Now, what ended up happening though is that when you come in, when you're seeing the other Spider-Man reboots, I actually kind of felt there were two of them that were more interesting than the Miles Morales character, and that was the film noir Spider-Man.
Which that was Nicolas Cage doing the voice.
Yeah. I'd like to just see a movie just with that character.
They should actually do that. They should do an offshoot. Yeah. Because I would totally watch a whole movie about noir Spider-Man.
And Spider-Gwen. I like Spider-Gwen.
I liked Spider-Ham. I would see a whole thing about Spider-Ham.
Spider-Ham is fun.
But, the little Porky Pig type character.
But after seeing this one, I kind of favor, like, I really don't care too much about what would happen. Like, Morales was a good story.
Yeah, it was
but
like
I don't need any more of it.
Story.
I don't really need any more of him. Would like to see more of the noir Spider-Man in the 30s.
I feel like they probably would because, like I said, this is the Miles Morales. It's like his origin story. Yeah. It's also like a coming-of-age story of him, like, finding his confidence and finding his way in life. And that's mostly what the story focuses on. So it actually does really have an emotional core and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like now that he's kind of like in his universe, he's the Spider-Man. I probably feel like they should probably like branch out into different and like do movies about some of the other. Because I would totally, like I said, I would totally watch a movie about some of the other Spider people too.
Yeah,
they were really cool.
I would favor the noir Spider-Man.
The noir Spider-Man, yeah.
And Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
I actually thought Spider-Gwen was kind of cool, a female version of Spider-Man in a parallel universe. She kind of had the ballerina thing going with the little ballet shoes
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a cool character. But the black and white noir, his dialogue and everything is like very Indiana Jones, very cool.
Yeah, he has like a trench coat.
Private Dick,
Private Dick type thing.
And that would make a really good movie.
And they should do it all in black and white.
Yeah, that'd make a really good movie.
Sin City, but they could make it like this one. Yeah. But like I said, this was actually, it's a little bit different than what I was expecting. Like I said, it actually had, a character-driven story and stuff. There was a ton of action sequences and really cool visuals and stuff too, but it actually had, a character arc and, a lot of emotional investment between the characters. So I thought that was kind of cool, and it's like I said, this was actually one of the coolest looking movies that I've ever seen. I would recommend seeing it 3D. I don't usually care about
3D. It really made sense.
But it really, really does make sense seeing this movie. It's really cool looking.
Yeah, and a lot of the gripes of the new Marvel comic books is that it's bad writing. The people that are writing are not really trained writers. They don't really come from the backgrounds that you need, because comic books really were basically war propaganda. That's what GIs read during the World Wars, and there was a lot of warrior virtue in the writing, and that's evidently lacking in the comic book. But it's not lacking in this. I thought it had good heroic virtues. Didn't you say? I would say yeah.
And I think kind of the whole message of the movie is that, like, you know, you have to find your own heroism.
Yeah.
And anyone can be a hero if they step up and stuff.
Yeah,
like
and
that,
it basically like be willing to sacrifice yourself to.
Yeah, which you know that's kind of a lot of these kind of fantasy movies have that kind of story. But yeah, it's like this was a little bit different than I was expecting, but it actually turned out much better.
Much better than I expected.
Than I expected.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
All right.
Okay, just got done seeing Vox Lux. This one had Natalie Portman in it, and what's his name?
Jude Law.
Jude Law, yeah. And I think they both of them produced this movie.
Yeah,
actually.
executive produced, yeah.
And it's about a pop star, and I liked it. It had touches of brilliance to the movie. It drove about half of the audience out of it in the first fucking scene because they were expecting kind of this real kind of vapid candy pop music. It's nothing like that.
It's like it's like
pretty hardcore.
Yeah, well, like a very. I mean, if you just read like a brief plot synopsis, it's like it's about a girl and she has a tragedy in her youth and she becomes a pop star later on.
Yeah,
you will not be expecting.
what
this movie.
No, there's a deeper analysis to this movie. I didn't really like the ending. I thought the movie was going along pretty good. There was a certain ending I was expecting, and it didn't deliver on that. And I don't want to really spoil on
we can't spoil it. But yeah, it doesn't end the way you expect, but you keep expecting it to, and
it never happens.
It kind of gives you a stomachache because you're expecting it to happen, and
it never really happens. I would say the deeper meaning of the movie is that the world is a very vapid and shallow place, and pop music is even more vapid and more shallow, and what's really going on behind the scenes is pretty bad, and that pop music is a performance art very much like terrorism, okay? But terrorism is a performance art that actually kills you.
Yeah.
And that it looks like the world that we live in today, pop music is slowly being replaced with terrorism. And that terrorism is a better form of it. That's
the bold stance that this movie takes. Like you're saying, so you don't go in expecting it's like some happy little musical about, because the stuff you saw the trailer, I didn't see the trailer, but I think the trailer mostly just focuses on like the performance stuff, like with her in the costumes and everything. That's really only the last 10-15 minutes of the movie. Up to that, it's totally not what
and it trolls the fuck out of you. This movie's hilarious in certain spots, and it's
Natalie Portman is so good,
and the tone is so serious that the audience doesn't know it's trolling them. We were laughing.
Well,
we were laughing. It was funny.
I loved Natalie Portman was
very dry humor.
Funny in this. It's like she's so funny in this. Like, because the kind of the first probably half of the movie almost is her as a teenager, like in her early days. So it's a different actress, like playing her as a 14-year-old. But when she comes in like as an adult, and she starts, her character is from Staten Island, and she's just
a very grisly rock and roll chick who's
and she just says funny
no
shit.
filter, and she's fucking making political statements that are just fucking insane, and you go, that's the kind of shit celebrities say.
And I love that line that like Jude Law is like, do you believe all the weird shit you say?
And we were sitting there just fucking laughing. You just gotta see it.
There was only a couple other people in the theater. Like it's it's the middle of the afternoon, it's a Thursday, it's like it didn't get much. I didn't even hear about it until it like popped up.
And the ones that showed up were like
poster.
These young kids, you know what I mean?
I think they were expecting
something else, and then they fucking ran out of there in about 10 minutes. It's so funny because what they're creating today as children reminded me so much of those old Baptists that we fucking ran into. Oh my God, this is sin. We have to get out of here. It triggered the fuck out of them.
I guess so. But like I said, I wasn't expecting it either, but it's like
I just rolled with it. I was like, okay, where are they taking me?
I love weird shit like this. I love weird shit like this. And I love
they ran out.
And I love when you go into a movie not like maybe even expecting one thing and like it totally does something different. So I like that because it was like really surprising. Now this is going to be a really polarizing movie. Like I said, some people are really going to hate it.
It's an indie flick.
But it's a very indie flick. It's but I really it's weird as shit. But I really
they made this with their money, and they're just basically saying fuck you. They got something they're going to say.
Like,
they're trolling you.
Yeah.
Well, basically, one of the big themes of the movie was that in pop, culture, just even when it comes to television, a big part of the sales strategy depends on you being stupid, because you fucking bought this shit, and they depend on you being stupid, and that's really what this movie talks about.
Yeah, it kind of went into that a lot. But yeah, I really like this. I mean, kudos to Natalie Portman's performance, and this is really good. She's really, really funny in it. Yeah. But funny and like kind of a dark humor. It's hard to explain. I don't even know what genre I would call this.
Yeah.
This is
slice
like
of life.
I guess it's just like a very,
terrorism.
Very weird. It's a really weird indie flick.
Yeah.
And not at all what you're.
I approved of it. I
really liked it.
It was okay. Actually. Yeah, I liked it. I was informed.